they took that as the opportunity to go into our bedroom where their beds are, and the beds are now just fluff. They've eaten them. And I can tell it was both because there's little bites and big bites.
What a great group of APP.
Wait, your bed is eaten or your dog bed is eaten?
My dogs ate their bed.
Oh, okay. I thought they ate your bed.
Nice. Well, Ortiz, thank you. Sorry. I got this meeting blasting in my ears.
Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Hi, Tim.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself since Tim.
All right, we'll wait another couple of minutes for everybody to join, and then we'll get started. If y'all hear my wife yelling at the kids in the background, just assume that everything's okay.
Hillary said that she's doing kind of the cowboy old school. I think she's doing it. I think she's doing that somewhere around here though. Like Chilton County.
Y'all seeing my screen?
West Texas. We talked like
Yes.
very
Yeah, okay, good. All right, we'll wait another minute. All right. All right, so everybody can hear me. Everybody can see the presentation. Is that right? Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, so I appreciate everybody joining me tonight. This is what I think is a really important presentation, and something that I'm proud of, that is something we've been working on for quite some time. So I will say up front that this presentation is a little dense. There's a lot of information, so just please bear with me. There's several slides that I'm just going to read to you, which I hate as an audience member, but I think it's important to really focus on a few things. So I wanted to give a general overview of the APP development program and leave plenty of time for questions. And if we need to have another session in a couple of weeks, we can do that as well. But all right, so let's get started. We plan to launch the APP development program in August. So we still got another 5 or 6 weeks to iron out the last few kinks, or if you guys have any feedback that ultimately ends up changing how we may do things, you know, we've got time to implement that. So the big picture plan is to start this off in August, okay? When this committee was first formed, and the committee was chaired by myself and Courtney, when it was first formed 2 years ago, we really spent the first half a dozen meetings just kind of staring at each other, not really knowing what we thought this might look like. And we were just really kind of overwhelmed with the size and the scope of this project. And what we came to realize pretty early on was that we were really looking at two different things here, two different phases that had different goals and motives. And so what we did was divide this program up into 2 different phases. We have phase 1, which focuses on the onboarding and orientation for all of our new hires. And then we have phase 2, which focuses on the ongoing development for all of our existing APPs. So that's what's really relevant to you guys. We're not going to talk about phase 1 tonight, but I just wanted to mention it to give you guys a little bit more context. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. And then after that, we'll kind of deep dive into the specifics a little bit. But I think it's important for you guys to understand what was the driving force behind this. So first and foremost, the core mission of this program, as I mentioned in a prior email, I think was to provide, invest in, and refocus on the professional development of you guys. Those of you who have been with our service for more than a few years know that we've undergone a pretty drastic transformation over the past couple of years, and virtually every aspect of how our service runs has changed. And a lot of what was driving that change was we had come to realize that there were really a lot of gaps and inefficiencies in how we do things. One of those gaps was we had not been focusing very much on the development of our employees. And so we made some strides toward investment in our physicians, but we hadn't done the same for the APPs. And as our service continues to grow and it's going to continue to change, we really do need to have independent, well-rounded APPs that can function at the top of their license. And that's really the kind of primary goal of this project.
Hey, Emily, this is Kate with Hospitals. I've got a question about an order I'm putting in on a patient.
Let's see, Kate, I'm gonna meet you. So if we have a primary goal, we also have some secondary goals, and I want to cover those. So some of the secondary goals that we have is to ensure that all of our new hires are up to a defined standard. This is largely what phase 1 is focused on. So we won't spend any time on that. Another secondary goal is to make sure that all of our APPs have this common, strong foundation of knowledge and competencies and skill sets. And then lastly, the other thing that I think is really important is, or that's really important in terms of growing and developing, is you guys need more feedback, and that feedback needs to be routine and timely and something that you can act on. So I think if we can achieve those primary and secondary goals, it's ultimately going to lead to this. I think that we're going to further develop and enrich you guys professionally, and I also think this is ultimately going to lead in more job satisfaction. Some of the other downstream effects is that it's going to allow our service to provide optimal care and be more efficient, and also allow us to excel and serve as a model for collaboration. So I envision other services, other surgical services, other institutions using this as a model for further development of MD APP collaboration. So I want to give a general overview of phase 2. It may seem a little confusing on this first slide, so I want to do the overview, and then we'll kind of jump into the specifics of each aspect, and then we'll come back and do another overview and kind of cover an example. So it may be a little confusing at first, but I think by the time we get to the end of things, it'll be a little more clear. Okay. So the educational component of this program is a subject-based curriculum, and each month will be dedicated to a specific topic. Okay, so you guys will go through this mandatory 12-month-long curriculum that is, for the most part, going to focus on the foundations of hospital medicine. After this initial 12-month curriculum is completed, the mandatory requirements are removed, but each month is still going to be dedicated to a specific topic. And we're still going to offer a variety of educational activities, but participation is not going to be required, and none of the assessments will be mandatory. And then after you guys complete the 12-month curriculum, we're going to shift from what is mostly foundational topics to more advanced topics, as well as any general updates in hospital medicine. That's probably going to kind of morph into this phase 3, which we need to figure out down the road. But the point is that the first 12 months are essentially mandatory, and they're more focused on the foundations of hospital medicine. And we'll go into this, but the curriculum is a mix of written cases and formal lectures, some small group sessions, editorials, and then carefully selected outside sources such as videos and podcasts and other review articles. And then lastly, you guys will be evaluated through self-assessment and faculty assessment, as well as written quizzes. Okay, so that's kind of the big picture, and I want to deep dive into each of these to explain it in some more detail. So this is the academic calendar that we've created. As you can see, again, each month is dedicated to a particular topic. We have built in a couple of breaks during the winter holidays and the middle of the summer. And we've also intentionally kind of designed to have shorter or less rigorous months, and months that may have other big holidays or maybe big travel months, such as November or January and June. I do want to point out that in June we have what we're calling various topics. So this will kind of include a variety of subjects that are really important to hospital medicine, but don't necessarily dictate that they have an entire month dedicated to them. So things like dermatology, ophthalmology, nutrition, addiction, that kind of thing. Obviously there will not be any quizzes during the breaks. There's not any quizzes for the various topics. So for the mandatory 12-month curriculum, there really is just 9 months. Nine of those months will have the quizzes that we developed, and we'll talk about that. So for each module, you will have access to a document that looks like this. So this is what we're calling the Master Content Guide. This is a kind of like a syllabus that contains everything you need to know about a given module. Okay. On the left, you see all of the different available educational activities, and then on the right, this is just extra information or links to any outside resources. Each of these activities are worth a certain amount of credits, and there will be a required amount of credits for each month. We're still finalizing the exact details of that, but I envision really no more than about 5 credit hours per month. And as you can see at the bottom on the left side here, the activities that require more time are worth more credits. And so there's not going to be any official tracking of these credits. It's kind of done on the honor system. But again, you'll have all of these available activities, and you need to do a certain amount of credit hours for each module. Let's kind of go through the different content. So in blue here, we have these hospital medicine cases. These are cases that have been written by people on the APP Development Committee or the Education Committee. These are 2 to 3 page long cases that are focused on high yield content that we intentionally picked out these topics, so we think that they're probably the most important. And then the next 3 colors, the videos, podcasts, and articles. These are outside resources, so things that we did not create, but different activities that we have carefully selected and reviewed to be, again, high yield content. The orange section there at the bottom, these are the scheduled lectures and chalk talks. So for example, come August, there's going to be the chalk talk that is given before town hall, just like we always do. That'll be subject based, depending on the month. And then the noon report, which is the small group session that I lead. We started doing this before COVID hit and things kind of fell off the rails, but we're going to get that going again come August, whether it's done remotely or in person. And those are important because they're unique in that you can earn actual CME credit for, and we'll come back to that. And then in the gray there at the bottom, these are just call them hospital medicine serials. So this is a mixture of the weekly educational digest and the educational newsletters that that I've written and that we send out every week or every month. So obviously every month we'll have different types of content, but for the most part, it's going to look something like this with a big variety of activities. And designing it this way will allow you guys to go at your own pace, will allow you to pick out particular topics that you're either interested in or you feel maybe weak. And it's going to allow you to earn actual CME credit, okay? So again, you don't have to do all of this. You just got to do the 5 credit hours per module. So let's talk about the quizzes. I know in the past there's been a lot of apprehension about this, so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this. As I mentioned